Hi friends, welcome again to Joy of Life. Today we are going to do another problem from Leetcode, problem number 198. It's also a medium problem. So let's look at the problem. So the problem says you are a professional robber planning to rob along a street. Each house has a certain amount of money stashed. The only constraint stopping you from robbing each of them is the adjacent houses have security system connected and it will automatically contact the police if two adjacent houses were broken into on the same night. Given a list of non-negative integers representing the amount of money each the amount of money each house, determine the maximum amount of money you can rob tonight without alerting the police. So in this case, you can see the inputs given are 1, 2, 3, and 4. So I cannot rob two adjacent houses. So I can rob 1 and 3, 1 and 1, 2 and 1, 3 and 1. So here we can see that the best that we can get after robbing is 1 and 3. Similarly over here we have 2 and 2, 7, 9, 3 and 1. So 2 and 9 can be 2, 9 and 1 can be robbed, which will give me 12. 2, 7 and 3 can be robbed, which will give me 10. 2 along with 3 can be robbed, 2 along with 1 can be robbed, 7 and 1 can be robbed. So there are several combinations that can happen. So let's look at the approach that we are going to use in order to solve this. So let's take the example from the problem. So let's say 27931. This is the example that will be using. 27931. 931. So we need to come up with a strategy in order to find out the maximum that the thief can make. So what we are going to do, this is a very easy dynamic programming problem. So we are going to use programming approach over here to solve this problem. So basically we are given with array over here, right? So let's say A, and we are going to create our DP table based on this. So let's call this DP, and we are going to create an array of the same size. So I have 5 elements. So the solution is something like this, like at every point we will know what is the best that can be done. So let's consider if there is only one house, what we can do best. So if there is just one house, so let's say this house, the first one, the best we can do is 2. If there are two houses, 2 and 7, then what is the best that we can do? We can do our best would be 7 over here because 7 is greater than 2, right? So this is how we are going to come up with the solution. So these are our base cases that we have identified. So 0th element and the first element. And now going from the second element onwards, we need to have a formula in order to find out what is the best that we can do. So here I have a value that is 9. So I have a value of 9 here. So either I can use 9 plus the index minus 2. So index minus 1 is this and index minus 2 is this. So this is the best we can do if there is only one house. So now we are at the third house and we are going to see which one we are going to use. So what we can do is we can rob this house. If we rob this house, we can still rob this house as well. So that is what we are doing here. So this turns out to be 9 plus 2, 11. Otherwise, what is my second choice? Otherwise, the second choice is I do not rob this house. So I have two choices over here. Either I rob the house, that is this case 1, and the second case is I don't rob this house. If I don't rob this house, what is the best I can do? I have to look to my previous cell, I minus 1. So these are I. So I minus 1 is 7. So I'll see which one is best, 11 or 7. So if I rob this house, I can get a better value, which is 11. So if I have just 3 houses, then the best that I can make is 11. Now moving to the next index is 3. So again, I have two choices. Either I rob this house, which is 3 plus I minus 2, which is 3 plus I minus 2 is, we are sitting here, so 3 plus 7, which is 10. Or we just look at, or the second choice is we don't rob this house. In that case, we have a choice of 11. That is the money we can make. So if I rob this house, I can only make 10. But if I don't rob this house, the best I could get is 11. So I'll stick to 11. Similarly, moving to the next point is I am seeing that if I rob this house, so again the current value here is 1 plus I minus 2, which is 1 plus 11, which is giving me 12. So if I rob this house, I can get 12. And if I don't rob this house, the best that I could get is 11. That is I minus 1. So 12 is the best that we can get. So we'll go for 12. And that is what you see over here, that the best that we can make is 12. Similarly, for this case also 1, 2, 3, 4, if we can see that even the same formula will hold true. So let's take this example and let's take the value 1, 2, 3, 1. Okay, so let's create an array. So if I have only this house, I have two choices. So first choice is rob, and the second choice is don't rob. So if I rob this house, if I rob this house, I can make 1. If I don't rob this house, I make 0. So this is where I will put my index. So I'm sitting at 0th index. So I can make 1. Now moving to index 1, which is the element 2. So I have again two choices. If I rob this house, I can make 2. If I don't rob this house, I can make 1. Right? Because I cannot rob two adjacent houses. So I'm getting the max of both. So which is 2. Moving on to the next index, I have a value 3. So from here we are going to, since this formula becomes eligible from the second index, so we are going to apply this formula now. So what we are going to do is we are going to see the current value plus I minus 2. So it becomes 3 plus 1, which is 4. So if I rob this house, I can make 3 from this house and 1 from this house. The best from this house rather. And if I don't rob it, what I can make is I minus 1. So I'll look at the previous. So if I'm not robbing this, this is the best I can get till here. So my answer would be 2. So I would prefer to rob this house. Moving on to the next index, which is the third index. Again, applying the same formula, I minus 2. So I have 1 plus I minus 2. So the value is 2. Sorry, I did a typo over here. It will be 4. So 3 plus 1, 4. Okay. So I have I minus 2 to look at. So the value that I can get is 3. And this is the value I can get if I rob this house. And if I don't rob this house, I look at the previous index. So my value is 4. So we will stick to 4 since it's the bigger of the two. So you see here that we have the output as 4. So if we try to put this in formula, so it would look something like this. So for the 0th, so our base cases, would be, let's say my value is A0. So we will set our base cases for A0 and A1. And for remaining all AIs, we'll have a formula. Okay, so A0 will have no choice either to rob it or to let it go. So let it go will always yield me 0, and since the problem says that it is having all positive integers, so it is best to just for sake I'll change this to DP. I will not call this A because A is my input array. So the best value is A dot A0. And for the first index, what we'll do is we will consider max of A0 and A1. Why so? So if I have 2 and 7, so either I can go for 2 or 7. So I am choosing the higher among the two. And for all other indexes, what would be to get the max? So if I rob it, that is AI plus, it will be, I'll look back at my table and I'll see what my previous to previous best was. So if I am sitting, this consider this to be my DP table, so it has the best result always. So if I am over here, let's say this is my question mark over here. So this value from my array, so let's say we have values like A, B, C, D. So it will be D, right? Yeah. So this can be either D plus Y or Z. So I'm just looking back to this index, DP minus 2, or I don't rob this house. I have two choices over here. So this is rob and this is don't rob. Now let's look at it in the solution in Leetcode, how it will look. Okay, so what we are going to do, we are given with a function rob which takes the nums array which we called as A in our whiteboard, and we are supposed to return the best value that we can get. So there can be a scenario wherein the array is empty. So in this case, what will happen is this means there is no house in the street. So the best I could do is 0. Or there could be a situation where there is only one house. So it would be always best to rob that house because we were told that uh, these are like non-negative integers. Each house is having some money, right? So it is better to always rob that house. So I'll just return nums of 1. Sorry, one house 0. Now we will create, what we need to do is we'll create a DP table, and the DP table means we'll create an array which would be of the same length as the input array, because for each house we are storing the best answer, right? So what we are going to do is we are going to create a new array. We'll call this DP, and it's going to be a new int, sorry. And as I said, that it would be of the same length as the input array, right? And we also know that if there is just one house, that is, we are going to set our best cases. So if I say there is only one house, the best that I could get is nums of 0. And if there are two houses, so I could either take one from there. So I will take definitely the max of nums of 0 and nums of 1. So here we are done with our base cases. Now we need to iterate and populate the entire DP table, and we will have our answer at the very last index, because this is we are always taking the best answer and going forward. So for int I equals to, we have already, sorry, there is a mistake here. So we have already set for the 0th and the first index. So we'll start from 2 and we'll go to nums.length and we are going to do I++. Now we are going to populate our table. So how we should populate? We have deduced a formula, right? So two choices again. One is to rob the house. Rob the house means nums of I. If I am taking nums of I and then I can add the best I can get from the previous to previous house. So that value is stored in the DP's I minus 2 index, right? So if I am, let's say if I have array like this is my DP array. So at every point we have the best answer stored. If there is one house, this is my best answer. If we have two house, this is my best answer. If we have three house, it's my best answer. If I have four house, this is my best answer. So how do I get the best answer? That is current house I'm robbing plus previous to previous house. Previous to previous best from DP table. So I am going to take this value from the nums array and I am going to add what I can get from here. So these two will give me my answer. So that's what we are doing here. And the other would be to not to rob this house. In that case, I will just look at my DP table and see what is the best I could get till the last house. And my answer would be stored in the last index of the table. So let's submit this and see. Okay, we got error, so just a small typo. So yeah, it is accepted. Let's do a submit and see. So I hope you got the logic behind the problem. So you can see that it almost takes no time. It takes 0 millisecond and it's faster than 100% of the submissions. And the memory usage, since we have created a additional table of the same size as the array, so our memory usage is a little high on the higher side, though we can look for alternate solution. Probably I'll discuss some alternate solution on how we can do it in the days to come. So yeah, so this is all about your problem, um, house robber problem. I hope you like the solution. Do share your feedback. If you have any improvement ideas, do subscribe, do like, and share with your friends. I'll continue to share more videos in the days to come. And thank you once again. Have a great day.